well. They're one of the bright stars in USDOT on a state that really does a lot of things very, very well. So I appreciate their welcome to come down to the great state and do this press conference. I'm also here with John Esparza, President and CEO of Texas Trucking Association, Todd Spencer, President of OOIDA, Bruce Bugg, Chairman of Texas DOT. It's great to have you gentlemen with me as well. So listen, I think at least this administration understands that truckers are the backbone of America. 3/4 of our nation's freight is moved by trucks. 12 million Americans are employed in the trucking industry. It's a great job, a great pathway to build financial security and financial success, to raise a family. You can do that in the trucking industry, as well as not coming out of school and having $50, $100, or $200,000 in debt. You get out at a young age and you can start making a great living. Today we're here to restore common sense and safety to our roadways. For too long, misguided policies have prioritized political correctness over safety of the American people. President Trump, if you listen to him, he says that he puts safety first, and he does. He also puts America first as well. That means ensuring that our roadways are safe. The president's recent executive order is a clear statement. We support America's truckers and will safeguard our roadways for our truckers and for the American people. This means enforcing common sense rules and removing unnecessary burdens that hinder our truckers' work. So today, under President Trump's direction, we're going to take action. I'm officially rescinding the reckless 2016 Obama guidance on English language proficiency. We're going to replace it with stronger enforcement procedures. So federal law has always been very clear. Commercial drivers must be proficient in English. English is the language of opportunity in America. Allowing drivers who cannot read stop signs or understand police officers' instructions to operate an 80,000-pound big rig threatens the safety of every American on our roadways. There's numerous examples across the country where we've had people who are operating this kind of equipment who can't speak the language, and the results have been devastating and have taken the lives of so many American families. That's going to end right now. Instead, we are issuing new guidance that ensures a driver who can't understand English will not drive a commercial vehicle in this country. Period. Full stop. Enforcing out-of-service violations is about preventing tragedies and saving lives. So in 2015, before President Obama changed the guidance, over 99,000 drivers had English language proficiency violations. So almost 100,000 violations of not speaking English. 1,000 of those drivers were taken out of service. So let's fast forward to 2024. That dropped to 10,000 violations, and 0 were taken out of service for a violation of the English language proficiency. So think about that. That means we have let 1,000 of the worst offenders basically off the hook with a slap on the wrist. That's not going to happen anymore. We're going to put safety first. But the president's executive order on English language proficiency didn't stop there. So in accordance with the president's executive order, DOT is taking additional action. So number one, we're reviewing the security of commercial driver's license. Now this is a state-by-state issue, but we do have a role, and we are reviewing the security procedures around how CDLs are given throughout the states. We're going to review non-domiciled CDLs, and we're going to improve verification protocols for both domestic and international credentials to ensure only qualified drivers are behind the wheel on American roads. The EO also directs the DOT to improve the working lives of truckers, which, by the way, I got to tell you, it's one of the most vocal groups of people I've heard from in my time at DOT. When they have an issue, they know how to use Twitter. They know how to use all social media. I hear from the truckers a lot, and this English language proficiency was one of the big ones. But they've also said the quality of life could be improved. You could help us out at USDOT to improve that for us. And that means looking at critical needs like truck parking, which impacts the lives of truckers every day on the road. There'll be more to come on this, but you can be assured that the DOT is committed to helping truckers and trucker safety. From not enforcing English language proficiency to broker fraud to non-domiciled CDLs, it kind of feels like the trucking industry has become the Wild West with a lot of bad actors who have been allowed to play in this space. We're going to end the play of bad actors, and we are going to support and encourage and prop up the great businesses, the great drivers, the great brokers that make this country work, that move our products, that make sure that we have a supply chain that functions and functions well in this country. So today's actions are a step in the right direction. We'll not compromise when it comes to safety. And I just want to, again, thank US DOT for being here. And I'm going to tell you, this administration, and maybe it brings me back to, President Trump, being shot in the face. And that's a moment where you can't think about that. You can't plan that. You can't orchestrate that. There's just something genetic that happens when you respond. And we saw our president stand up and put his fist in the air and say, fight, fight, fight. And I say that because our president has grit, right? This is an industry that also has grit. And you have a US DOT right now that shares that grit. And so we are going to work together and fight together to make sure we enforce our laws, make sure our roads are safe, and we take the bad actors out of business and off our roads. And so with that, I want to now turn it over to John Esparza, President and CEO of Texas Trucking Association.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, Secretary, thank you very much. We appreciate the work that you're doing. It's clear that not just is the president that has grit, but those that are serving him do as well. And that's something that certainly is not lost on us in the industry, not lost on us from the prospect of what we're doing here at this beautiful campus with our partners in the Texas Department of Public Safety and our Texas Department of Transportation. So this is an issue that has been long in the works, something that as an industry we've been in communication with for years now. You heard the history behind it. The very basic premise behind what's occurring today is safety. Imagine you cannot, if you're in the enforcement side, you're unable to communicate roadside. This is something that's very basic when it comes to the attention of safety. We've joined our partners with the Texas Department of Transportation now for a number of years and mark No Deathless Day, Mr. Chairman. That doesn't happen on our highways in this great state. Every day since early 2000, November if I'm not mistaken, we have not had a day without a fatality on our highways. And as a trucking industry, we're here to do our part. There's a lot of factors involved with that, but doing our part is part of what we're talking about today and part of what the Secretary has also mentioned that we're going to continue to work on when we talk about non-domiciled, when we talk about the instances of cabotage that are occurring out there. We're going to work in every area that we can so that this equipment behind you that's moving 80,000 pounds of freight on any given day on our highways, highways, Mr. Chairman and Todd, that our families are on as well. That is not lost on us as an industry, and is why we spend time, energy, effort, hours of training on safety. We know that's how the trucking industry can do its part. And when we talk about English proficiency, we are talking about the very first interaction that we're having roadside. And what we see, given the great state of Texas that we are, and it's, Mr. Secretary, it ain't bragging if it's true, you're right. But we share 1,250 miles of U.S.-Mexican border in the state of Texas of the 1,550 miles in the entire country. It's happening in Texas here first. And if we're not taking the lead as partners with our TxDOT Commission, our leadership here in the state with enforcement, then we're not going to get any work done. So we couldn't be any more thrilled not just to be announcing this and critical announcement for the entire country, for the entire North America, quite frankly, right here in our home state of Texas. And Mr. Secretary, we can't thank you enough for the work that you're doing and the work that we're going to continue to do together. So thank you for the opportunity to share thoughts before you. And with that, I want to introduce my counterpart with the OOIDA and Todd Spencer. Todd.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Todd Spencer, president of the Owner-Operator Independent Drivers Association. OOIDA is the largest national trade association representing the views of small business truckers and professional truck drivers in all states, and quite a few right here in the lovely state of Texas. I want to thank Secretary Duffy for hosting this important event, and I want to thank President Trump for taking bold action to put highway safety first by signing the executive order that restores English language proficiency as a core safety requirement for commercial drivers. This is a good day for truckers, it's a good day for families, and it's a good day for common sense. Out on the road, there's no margin for error. Truckers drive 80,000-pound vehicles through all kinds of terrain, steep mountain passes, narrow turns, busy city streets. The only thing that's separating safe trips from deadly ones can be a simple road sign. These signs aren't suggestions, they're warnings. They save lives, but only if they're understood. That's why English proficiency behind the wheel isn't some bureaucratic requirement. It's a life and death safety standard. Truckers must be able to read road signs, communicate with law enforcement, and respond in emergencies. When that doesn't happen, people get hurt or worse. But for nearly a decade, enforcement of this requirement was gutted. The result, safety violations didn't go away, they just stopped being tracked. OOIDA is advocating for returning English proficiency to the list of serious violations, and we've been calling on federal regulators to restore accountability and focus on real safety. And now, because of this administration's leadership, that's exactly what's happening. The executive order signed by President Trump is a major step forward for safety, not just for truckers, but for every person on the road. Complying with the English language proficiency standards doesn't mean you have to recite an encyclopedia, but it should mean you comprehend routine safety messages. Those can and should be taught in training schools, and tested for English proficiency isn't optional. It's essential and it's required. English language proficiency is required under regulations describing general qualifications for drivers. Unfortunately, there are far too many unqualified drivers being licensed and operated on the road today. Inadequate training combined with loopholes in state testing protocols result in drivers who lack the basic skills. Whoops. I've got one more here. Well, in conclusion, again, we want to thank the Secretary, we want to thank the Trump administration, and I need to have a shout out here to Shannon Everett and American truckers for turning a light under this whole issue. And working together, we'll improve highway safety, and we've got a lot of work to do, but we're ready, anxious to do it. Thank you. Mr. Chairman?
Todd, thank you for that, and John, thank you for your remarks. Secretary Duffy, welcome to Texas.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
We are so glad to have you in Texas, and let me tell you, Texas is all about relationships, and we have been looking for a partner in USDOT for a long time over the last several years. We are glad you are in Texas with us today, and I commit to you we will work together as partners. Absolutely. Well, good morning and welcome. My name is Bruce Bugg, and I am honored to serve as the chairman of the Texas Transportation Commission. Governor Abbott appointed me in February of 2015, right after he was inaugurated, and it's been my honor to serve Governor Greg Abbott and be able to work with people like you, Mr. Secretary. We are working every day with our more than 13,000 employees at the Texas Department of Transportation. Over 13,000 men and women get up every day and make sure that we bring the best transportation system to Texans and also people that are driving trucks. We want to make sure that we are giving you the best experience. Thanks for the continued leadership, Secretary Duffy, in D.C. And maybe we didn't have leadership for a while. Thank you for restoring leadership is what I really should say. And I think it's going to be great working with you and working with the DOT in Washington, D.C. More than any other state in the nation, Texas has commercial trucks move more than 1.5 billion tons of freight every year. That's why we're hard at work at continuing to build our infrastructure in the state of Texas, and we actually have over $60 billion of road and highway improvements under construction in real time throughout the entire state of Texas. That is, I would say, Secretary Duffy, a all-time record for the state of Texas. And it just shows you how we are committed. The men and women of TxDOT who join me today are committed to making sure that we are deploying the best infrastructure to keep our state growing as rapidly as it is. And we also want to applaud President Trump. It's just common sense what President Trump has done. And thank you for coming to Texas to sign what will implement common sense for everybody that gets on the highway. We all are using our highways, whether it's, personal vehicle or you're driving one of these wonderful trucks that we're looking at here. But we all have a shared responsibility, the way I look at it. It doesn't matter if you drive an 18-wheeler or you drive a little Volkswagen. We all have a shared responsibility when we get on the highways to do the right thing by the drivers that are beside us, by the drivers that are passing us. Whatever it is, we all have to, we're in this game together. So President Trump acted immediately. This was so important. And please tell the President how much we appreciate him taking these steps. So once again, I want to welcome you, Secretary Duffy. And I would say it's a warm welcome, but it's a heartfelt welcome. Let me put it that way. So thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
And thank you all. Hope you all have a great meeting today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, John.
So, listen, I appreciate that, and the welcome has been warm. My one regret is I came to Texas and I didn't bring my cowboy boots. That's a fail. I'm sorry about that. Next time I'll make sure I bring my boots. They're good looking. So listen, per the president's directive, with his executive order, I'm going to sign a secretarial order right now that's going to direct our department to, again, go back and follow the law in regard to English language proficiency and taking trucks out of service who don't follow that law.
Here we go. Make it so. Moving on. Here we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo!
If any of you have any questions for us.
Secretary Duffy, Michael Atkinson, CBS Austin. I wanted to follow up on the investigation that your office said that it had opened about that I-35 crash that happened just up the highway.
Yeah.
Here. Do you have any update on where that investigation is going, including the fact that the driver was sober at the time?
It's still under investigation with our motor vehicles division, so can't comment on it. But again, one of the reasons why we wanted to come to Texas. And again, this highlighted a broader issue that we have in the country. And I would just argue this administrative rule change by the Obama administration should have never happened. Again, we want people to speak English. Again, it's critical they're able to talk to law enforcement, communicate with law enforcement, read road signs. And again, we're going to go back to common sense. So no update for you, again, because of the investigation we're still doing. Morning traffic?
Deadly crashes very often. What is the significance of signing this executive order and having this event today in Austin?
So we're changing the rule in regard to someone who is pulled over and can't speak the language. They'll be put out of service. Where before they'd be given a slap on the wrist and allowed to continue on their way. So the consequence of taking one of these vehicles out of service and having the company come back and find another driver, it becomes very costly. It's not cost. There's not a cost benefit to putting someone in your rig. They can't speak the language. It'll cost you far more. And so I think the incentive will be to make sure that your drivers actually can speak English and communicate with law enforcement and read our road signs.
And any reason you chose to do this in Austin?
I heard the weather was great in Austin, so I wanted to come and feel some Texas heat before I got it in northern Wisconsin.
What does enforcement look like of this new,
Yes, so I think it's important to note that this is done by our partners in law enforcement, right? Whether it's at way stations, or if it's just interactions that law enforcement have with the great men and women who have taken this on as a profession. But when they see those drivers who, again, can't communicate, they'll take them out of service. So, again, there's not one umbrella in which this will fall under. It's the whole spectrum of law enforcement on our roadways that our law enforcement will use to make sure they're enforcing this order, which is common sense, and it's the way it's been done since before Obama changed it at the end of his administration.
What, Emiliano with the Austin American Statesman, what unsafe practices do you believe English non-proficient drivers are doing that
Yeah.
English proficient?
So, yeah, it's a good question. So you have to be able to communicate with law enforcement if you're stopped, right? If you're at a way station, what are you carrying? What kind of load do you have? And if you can't speak the language and communicate with law enforcement, that creates a risk for, I think, everyone involved. If you can't read road signs, that creates a risk. And we have a number of examples where whether it was just negligence or the driver was not able to read the road signs, we have examples of accidents where lives were lost. And so again, we have a language that our law enforcement is using, and we have a law in place that hasn't changed. Just the enforcement portion of it was changed by the Obama administration. We're going to go back to the common sense of making sure you speak English, and yeah, we think this makes sense. It makes everyone on the road, I think, safer. And again, this is holistic. We have 40,000 deaths on American roads every year. And as much as we try, it's really hard to move those numbers. Is this going to move those numbers by the thousands? No. But I think we have to think through how can we take small steps and start to save lives and move that needle in the right direction. And I think this is one of those small things we can do to follow the law and make sure we keep our roads safe.
Are you privy to any data then that your department has that suggests that
We can send over examples to you if you want, and it is the law. How we enforce the law, what's the penalty for the law, is what we're dealing with right now. Anybody else? Again, do you have a question?
Yeah, I do have a question. Brandon Bettis with KVU News. Secretary Duffy, Austin Airport has had air traffic controller shortages for a long time, and it's causing some delays. What are you guys doing to help hire and train traffic controllers a little bit quicker?
This was one morning I thought I could not talk about aviation, but I will. Listen, we take this very seriously. There's two issues at play. One is the infrastructure that our air traffic controllers use, from telecom to all the hardware and software inside of towers and TRACONs and centers across the country. But you're asking about something different, which is the air traffic controllers. We're 3,000 air traffic controllers short in this country, and it's been that way for a number of years. And so we're doing two things, trying to improve the pipeline of young people going to the academy to become air traffic controllers, streamlining the process that they show an interest to the point that they get in the academy. We've helped with the tutoring inside the academy so we can reduce the washout rate. The washout rate in the academy is 35%. That's a big number. And by the way, there should be a washout rate. If you can't do the work, we want to see people cycle out. But if we can drop that washout rate to 25%, the numbers are significant. We're also taking the best and brightest on the test entrance exam, and we're putting them in the academy first. So that's on the pipeline to the academy. We should be able to expand those numbers next year and the year after. And then air traffic controllers can retire after 25 years of service. So if you come in at 25, you can retire at 50. And many of them do retire at 50. And so what I've done is I've offered those air traffic controllers who are of the age where they can retire, they've done the 25 years, we're offering them a 20% upfront bonus of their salary, writing them a check to stay for another year. And then the next year, if they're willing to stay, we'll write them another 20% check. We're paying people to stay. This is an American crisis. And I just want to make one other quick point on this. So you look across the country and you're like, Newark has a shortage right now, right? You've probably covered part of that. Well, I just can't take a controller from, say, Dallas and move them to Newark or the TRACON in Philly that's been having staffing issues. That's not how air traffic controllers work. A really experienced controller from Dallas, if they go to the Philly TRACON to control the Newark airspace, it'll take them upwards of a year to train up on that airspace. So you just can't move people around and get immediate results. So the fixes are going to take us some time, some months, some years. But if we're going to fix it, we have to start now, and that's what we've done. We have a plan that I'm going to need Congress's help, specifically your great Senator Ted Cruz. I'm going to need his help. And by the way, he's been a great partner of mine. He chairs the Commerce Committee. And he understands the problem and has been a great partner helping us think through how we can get the resources to fix the infrastructure around air traffic control. And he's been a partner in bringing more controllers onto the job. So I want to thank Texas for Senator Cruz and the great work he's doing as a partner for us at DOT. Very grateful. With that, I didn't get out without air traffic control, but I do thank you for the question. Thank you all for coming out. And I want to thank the industry. These are the great men and women who do move our products, that do make sure our supply chains work. And sometimes they can go unsung. I think we actually recognize the great work they do during the pandemic. We saw how important they were. But that work continues on a daily basis. And we're grateful for all you do, keeping our roads safe, our people safe, and moving our products. And it's great to be in Texas. Thank you.
Appreciate your help.
Hey.
We're going to take you back to the trailer, sir. We're going to bring you in to do the interview with their podcast. Yes, sir. I think we might be done. Yeah. That's
Well, I want to say goodbye to him. I didn't know that.
Okay.
It does make a lot of sense, and it's not as intrusive as all of the cafes I've talked up and down the line. We sit down with our drivers and make sure they can have this communication, because this guy here, he doesn't have to have probable. You don't have to have probable cause to pull him over, right? You pull him over just to say, making sure everything's okay. And so,
but he can't have a conversation. That's right.
And
he just takes.
That happens far too often. So we're fixing that. So
yeah, I was telling Joe yesterday. Spanish is my first language, and then English, right? So it's one of those things. But if you want to be successful, you have to be proficient, right?
Yeah. Well, and
you can get away with it for so long.
Yeah. And Joe, we talked about this as brothers all the time. My grandparents, all of them, always spoke English. Yeah. So it was our second language that we learned, that you had to understand and learn to communicate in Spanish. If you're going to have any relationship with your abuelita, it was just the way it worked.